The FIA is being accused of sabotaging Red Bull's dominance. The Milton Keynes team is facing their toughest stretch since the introduction of ground effect cars in 2022. Out of the last 9 Grand Prix, they've only managed to secure 3 victories. Even the unstoppable Max Verstappen is enduring his longest winless streak with the new generation F1 cars. His last win came 5 races ago in Spain, and he's only managed to land on the podium once in the following 4 races. One theory for Red Bull's recent struggles is the FIA's handicap system, which penalises successful teams by reducing their wind tunnel and computational fluid dynamics time. These tools are crucial for testing and refining new components before they're manufactured and added to the car. Red Bull's first major upgrade of the season was unveiled in Hungary, but the anticipated performance boost failed to materialise. By the time the team reached Spa for the final race before the summer break, the RB20 was back to its pre-Budapest form. The FIA recently introduced a mid-season adjustment to the regulations governing the legality of braking systems in Formula One. Shortly after, a startling rumour made headlines when Spanish F1 commentator Antonio Lobato accused Red Bull of cheating. Lobato claimed that 2 teams had informed him the FIA instructed Red Bull to change certain parts due to their illegality, allegedly explaining the RB20's recent dip in performance. The commentator also suggested that the FIA had confirmed this information, but the rumour was quickly shut down. But it was too little too late, as the story took off. The FIA's rule change sparked allegations from former Ferrari boss Peter Windsor, who suggested that Red Bull's innovative braking systems might have been exploiting loopholes and operating outside the rules. According to him, Red Bull might have been using a sophisticated rear cross-brake inertia valve until they were reportedly forced to remove it before the Miami GP. Windsor said, "Looks as though RBR might have been running a clever rear cross-brake inertia valve before they were obliged to remove it before Miami. This could explain Max's RR brake drama in Melbourne and his turn-in grief since China." For those interested in the fine print, Windsor's suspicions stem from this recent revision in Article January 2nd 11 of the FIA's technical regulations concerning brakes. Before the change, it read, "The brake system must be designed so that within each circuit, the forces applied to the brake pads are the same magnitude and act as opposing pairs on a given brake disc." The new wording now includes the following sentence: "Any system or mechanism which can produce systematically or intentionally asymmetric braking torques for a given axle is forbidden." The recent tweak now restricts teams from applying unequal pressure to the inner and outer sides of each brake disc. Low-speed understeer presents a huge challenge for a driver like Max Verstappen, who relies on aggressive driving to navigate slower corners, in contrast to the smoother approach of drivers like Jenson Button. Reflecting on the overweight RB18 from 2022, Verstappen discussed how understeer impacts his driving style, emphasising the difficulties it poses for his dynamic, forceful handling of the car. "Well, now it was just related to the weight of the car," he said. "Being really overweight created an understeering balance, and once we started to get rid of that, it started to be more agile again. Not just twitchy, but more agile. You could really use the front end." At the end of the day, that's also how you really drive a fast car. A car cannot be fast with understeer. It's impossible, especially with the tyres we had this year being a bit more understeer limited as well. You cannot have a car like that. Now, a Red Bull engineer has taken serious offence at Windsor's accusatory claims. Callum Nicholas, a leading figure among Red Bull's pit lane engineers, has responded sharply, saying, "Yeah, this is bull." Unsurprisingly, the only reason I care about this stuff is because really, people should just be giving the other teams the credit they deserve for putting in the work and catching up. Not everything has to be some big conspiracy. I've been building the car for the last 14 races. He hasn't. Damon Hill, after Callum Nicholas's outburst, provided a different theory. He suggests that Formula One's cost cap and car research restrictions have at least partly contributed to the Red Bull RB20's mid-season performance slump in the 2024 season. Since the 2021 season, Formula One has implemented a budget cap and aerodynamic research restrictions designed to level the playing field and foster closer competition. Damon Hill is convinced that these post-2021 financial and development constraints have contributed to Red Bull's recent difficulties, describing the car's decline as quite dramatic since the beginning of the season. Speaking on the F1 Nation podcast, he said, "It is impossible to call because I think the trajectory has been quite noticeable. The plateauing of Red Bull and Max Verstappen has been quite dramatic. I don't know whether it's the cost cap or all the other things they bring in, like the restrictions for teams who have won more than anyone else in the previous season, but it has to be partly that." With Mercedes clinching victory in 3 of the last 4 races before the summer break, Hill believes that the rules are achieving their intended effect. Of course, it's no good the rule makers just saying, "Let everyone catch up." If they don't know what they're doing, they won't catch up. They are obviously earning those positions. They're earning the right to challenge for victories. They've got their little tweak, whatever it is that they've done, to make the car work. It's all starting to close up now. Ferrari are the only people who have got into a little bit of a vortex and going around in circles without really getting further ahead. But convergence is coming, so it's great to see. In a conversation with Planet F1, Chief Engineer Paul Monaghan said that Red Bull has done nothing to make the car particularly bad since the season began. When asked about the changes since April's Chinese Grand Prix, where Verstappen secured a comfortable win from pole position, Monaghan responded, "That's a question we've posed to ourselves a few times, as you may well imagine. A surprisingly small amount has altered in terms of our car. The characteristics, as you have often heard us engineering types talk about, haven't really altered. I don't think there's anything we've done to make the car particularly bad." And now the FIA is adding more pressure to Red Bull, specifically to the outspoken Max Verstappen, in a new proposal. In a recent social media post, FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem urged race stewards to take a tougher stance on drivers and teams making insulting or malicious remarks about Formula One officials. This call to action is part of the FIA's United Against Online Abuse campaign, which underscores the connection between negative comments from sports figures and the rise in online harassment directed at officials. The Emirati said, "As part of our ongoing fight against online abuse, recent investigations have shown there is a direct link between negative comments from drivers and team members and the increase in hateful messages towards officials on social media." What do you think? Is there an unspoken war going on between Red Bull and the FIA? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.